Hello, listeners of the Didn't Die podcast. This is our 100th episode, 100. We did it. Thank you for listening. You've made it worth it that we didn't die. So this is just a friendly reminder to stay alert, especially at night when biters feed. And you guys know the most important rule. Kill to avoid further spread.
What is up, guys? It's Katie Hettenbach, and this is Katie Afraidy, and we're back with another Zoom episode. Today we are chatting with the director of the movie Didn't Die, Meera, as well as the lead actress and fellow comedian, Kiran. And I can't wait for you guys to hear that chat, so here it is, starting right now. Excited to have you both on.
Amazing. Thanks for having us.
Of course. And first, let's start out with saying congrats on the movie.
Thank you so much. And I love your background.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. This is a corner it's a corner of the studio that I'm in that I haven't quite discovered yet. So thank God the lighting's great.
The most important thing.
Right? So again, congrats. Huge, like finishing any type of movie is huge. So again, give yourselves a round of applause because that's huge accomplishment. So for my viewers who maybe don't know the movie and other people who don't maybe know, what is the film about?
I can say quick. I mean, the film is about a podcast host named Vinita, played by Kiran Deol, who's struggling to hold on to an audience in the middle of the zombie apocalypse.
And what a concept. Like, that is such a fun concept. And also, podcast host, zombie apocalypse, fun. So fun. Kiran, what drew you to the script initially? Because this is such a fun,
idea.
Yeah.
We actually worked off of like a what's called like a scriptment. So it's like about a 60-page like scriptment. So like this idea of kind of co-creating and developing something where you could kind of improvise and work with the other people and kind of have a sense in how it comes together. So getting involved really early was very cool.
That is so fun. On set when you guys were filming, what were the hardest scenes to film and then the most fun scenes to film? This is for both of you also.
Yeah.
I want to hear you first. I want to hear your answer to this.
Hardest scenes to film. I mean, it's a good question. I thought it was very fun to film stuff where, forgive me, I'm drawing a bit of a blank. I'm like, what was
You're good.
I don't think it was a hard. I didn't think anything was like really hard when it comes to the actual like fighting and the zombie stuff. It's quite technical. Like you have to, it's choreography and then it's, which is really fun and different. I haven't done a ton of that stuff, like the choreography material, like kind of, because any sort of fight sequence is almost like a dance, so that was like a really interesting challenge. There's a scene in a courthouse where like it's like the anniversary of this podcast. And I'm kind of talking to a room full of people, and that was very kind of, you're talking to a room full of people who are like, none of your jokes are landing, and like, so it's got that very like, I'm a comedian, and it had that very like, oh yeah, this is a very flashback to open mics back in the day, just like the kind of I think it works great in the film, but this kind of very like cringe, like just almost like cringe, like oof, nothing is working in here, and the awkwardness of that feeling, I think was pretty hilarious and challenging.
Yeah, and also
challenging. Yes,
challenging. Also, I'm a comedian as well, so I get
Yeah, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah. I had a set a couple weeks ago where I was like, ooh,
Or maybe I should just get off. Nah, I'm like, I got 20 minutes. I'm going to stay up here. I'm going to use all my time. And you're stuck with me.
Yeah, yeah. Sometimes it's good to just really lean into it. But it changes the energy and it changes your energy in really subtle ways. Like you're a little less relaxed, you know exactly what I'm talking about then. I think
Yeah.
there's very subtle differences in how the micro expressions in your face move when things are not going well that like most like professional comedians know, you know what I mean? It's just it's
Yeah.
because it's an energy exchange and it's a vibe. So I think that was very intentionally created in this room, but was funny to kind of throw back to. And a nice kind of combo of comedy and film and just like a cross section of the skills.
Yeah. That's awesome. And Mira, how about you? What was the hardest or your favorite or both?
I mean, I guess for context, I mean, the reason why some of it's kind of dusty is we did it a while ago at this point. We shot the bulk of the movie about 3 years ago, a little over 3 years ago. And it was just like we rented a house in upstate New York and we all lived in it together. And we had this kind of outline treatment, kind of like a script that had been workshopped with these five main actors for a couple of weeks leading into it and like built around their ideas and personalities a little bit. Flavor, the kind of like specificity they brought to a specific moments they would bring to it after hanging out together. Kiran in particular, she made a point to hang out with everybody and bring like personal details that then got woven into the script. And then we shot it almost as like in with the attitude of like this is like a workshop, this kind of working in a workshop and see if this movie could like really cook and really work. And then once we got that material, which was really the spine of the movie, we went, took some time, went back to like took it into an editing room, brought in an amazing editor, and like really kind of found a shape of something. And then a year later went back and like kind of filled in some pieces and did some additional days of pickup photography that included the fight that Karen was just talking about, or the stunty stuff that Karen was just talking about, which, so I'd say for me, it's like my favorite part of it was that those 2 weeks where we were just like living together and figuring out like, what is this story? Who are these people? And where is what is the energy we're trying to capture here? And then I think the hardest part is then like actually kind of like crystallizing all of that into a film. And so like the kind of process afterwards and then the kind of scalpel we had to take along in that part B of that process, I'd say was not my least favorite, but just like more of the kind of like puzzle that like frustrates your brain.
Totally. The editing and making sure everything comes together is always, it's a pain in the ass, but when it works, it works. But to get there, it's so challenging. It's so hard. What was the choice, or when did you decide to have the film be in black and white?
That was like a kind of day one decision. Like day one decisions were like Kieran, zombie movie, black and white, because it was just like like an homage, obviously, to Night of the Living Dead and kind of like genre films from the 70s, or even like a Twilight Zone episode, or Vincent Price film or something like those were the influences initially aesthetically for us. And then we started researching it. We realized technically, because we were making this movie for like no money with like very little crew, very little equipment, that like shooting in true black and white would afford us like a lot of latitude with lighting in a way that color pictured. And this movie like really was shot with a black and white sensor. Like there's no color to be found or to be captured, and that really like it for a low budget filmmaking aesthetic works really well. So for a number of reasons, but initially as an homage, obviously, to those movies.
And it did. As soon as it came up, because when someone is like, "Oh, come watch my movie," I don't look into anything. I just go in completely blind to watch it, because trailers, spoilers. I'm like, I want to be surprised. I want to just go in and not have any judgment. So the first shot, I was like, "This is giving Night of the Living Dead." So
cool, good.
Good job. Yay. Yay. Kiran, how did you and like as an actor, how do you get into that mindset of like, okay, I'm that obviously zombies aren't real. How do you get into the mindset of like, okay, we're gonna, be a podcast host in the zombie apocalypse?
I think that the way it's like an as if, right?
Yeah.
Like it's kind of it's the same as if that I think people do all the time. It's just the heightened environment of being in, it's just the heightened environment of genre, which I think gives you a lot of leeway. I think it's with her, I think there was a little bit of like um, maybe the clinging or the kind of masking with like she's kind of this character is really kind of ignoring the fact like the zombie apocalypse is a bit of a nuisance, you know,
Mhm.
for her goals,
Of
so
course.
there's kind of like I think it's like it's a bit of a nuisance that is quite inconvenient to have to live through this
No.
when you have a podcast to put out, so very like I think a little bit it's already kind of a in the deep background and masked anyway, you know, for the characters really I think focused on a set of other goals, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah, totally. I mean, hey, if I was in the zombie apocalypse, I probably would still be doing this. I'd be like,
Yeah.
"You guys want to go chat horror movies? I know the world's ending and there's like flesh eating, but hey, we gotta record.
And
We
you're
gotta
like, and
record."
hey, now it's research.
Mm-hmm. And that,
Before it was just for fun, now it's research. Now we're doing actual, now this we might pick up a couple of tips and tricks.
yeah, and it's the different types of zombies are so fascinating. I took a zombies and popular media class in college.
Ah.
Oh,
Insane, but it was like, how do you define a zombie movie?
yeah,
Like, is Get Out technically a zombie movie?
yeah,
Hmm.
Is Alien
right.
kind of a zombie? Like, they're like, in theory, they had like zombie philosophy. But it was insane. But it makes you think: is it a zombie movie or is it an alien movie?
Yeah.
And how do you
How you distinguish?
differentiate?
Well,
Yeah.
the origins are Haitian, right? The origin of a zombie is Haitian, and this concept of a reanimated corpse and kind of living as kind of part of a ritual, like that's brought about by some sort of ritual. So there's so many components within like the horror genre, like yeah, the kind of element of ritual. I mean, we really were thinking about this zombie movie and these zombies as being classic throwbacks to the first, Night of the Living Dead, but also yeah, thinking about the mentality of like Romero and making those zombies, like he was really influenced by like by Last Man on Earth and this concept of like
Mhm.
living among the dead and living among like ghosts and ghouls. And Carnival of Souls was another film that came to mind in terms of just like the ghoulishness, like kind of the idea of zombies as just being kind of these embodiments of people that have been lost, or like this kind of like living among the spirit of people. That's really what we were trying to harness with ours, because we could, making a low budget movie, we couldn't make, World War Z.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you could have gotten Brad Pitt. What do you mean? What do you mean?
Yeah, you could have done AI, you get
Yeah,
there.
AI's there. Cries in AI.
I didn't know
So,
about that. I didn't know about the Haitian thing, but there's also when you think about something like Frankenstein or
Mhm.
there has to be a lot of parallels. I'm not as
Yeah.
educated as either of you, but there has to be, like Mary Shelley with the reanimation that existed in like
Yeah.
Europe, and then like with the, Day of the Dead in Mexico, and just this idea of what happens to people after they die, and is there a life after death? You know what I mean? There's like
Mhm.
it's such a kind of curiosity and a cultural question that
Yeah.
different cultures address in a different way. I do think there's something kind of funny about the idea in some places it's happy, you
Uh-huh.
know,
Yeah.
and it's a celebration. And why is it that, I'm sure you've heard that thesis. I have a friend who was like, oh, the idea that aliens would come and want to harm you is very based on like the notion of colonization,
Mhm.
like that's a very why would that be like Arrival is not that movie, right?
Yeah.
But the model is if you went and you hurt a bunch of people, then there's like this kind of fear in going to her, just interesting.
Mhm.
Yeah. Who knows? The zombies, they might just want a hug.
Yeah,
You ever thought about that?
Yeah,
yeah,
warm
exactly. You
bodies.
get it.
Like,
Yeah.
exactly. You could find your rom-com zomdrom. You could find your Nicholas Holt.
I know. I mean, that's the thing. It's because it's Nicholas Holt.
They can
And
be
he's a babe. He's a babe. Do you guys have an apocalypse plan if a zombie apocalypse were to happen right now? Do you know where you're going?
Yeah, I'm just gonna walk outside and die.
Love,
Just say, cool, good.
love.
My friend, I always think this idea of, really wanting to survive is, I mean, okay, cool.
That's a lot. That's a lot of work.
Yeah, it's already, life is like, intense anyway. Why would you, now you want to just struggle more? I think I'd just be like, all right, guys, peace.
We trying to get killed.
Yeah, I'd go in the first wave. I'd be like, yeah, I'm just gonna.
But would you want to become a zombie, or would you want to just like peace out?
I think I would take a look at one or two of the zombies, kind of get
Okay.
a sense of what's going on with their, are they cool? Do they have a
Mhm.
good community? Or is it really a lot of just, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That kind of thing. And
Yeah.
then I would make the decision accordingly.
I
Yeah.
love that. I
I
love
will
that.
say the lifestyle seems pretty miserable, like that zombies have. Like their
Yeah.
general lifestyle, like just constantly being hungry seems like a lot, right?
That's
Yeah.
like people. People are supposed to eat 3 meals a day. That's also crazy.
A lot. So much food.
That's also a crazy amount of food to have to eat a day. That's so many meals. Like one time I
That's a
listened to an
lot.
interview where Aretha Franklin was like, "What's the hardest thing you have to do?" And she's like, "Every day I have to decide what's for dinner."
No.
That's
Yeah.
Aretha Franklin. Like, yeah.
She
That's a
had
yeah.
to doesn't she have somebody that could do that for her?
Well, she
Yeah,
doesn't.
but it's hard to decide though, because then you have to decide what you want, and then if you cook it, you have to be like, do I cook it or do I just put it in the oven? And then it's like, well, I don't want it. Then you do order out, but then you feel, and it's the
She
never
was
ending
saying
cycle.
she was saying it's like I had that yesterday. So this kind of like, and she apparently cooks her own food, according to this interview, which to be clear, I saw on Instagram and might not be, could just be fake news, could have been AI. I don't know. But I could be giving you false information right now, but I was like, this is, it's that thing of, I think she really put the effort in. Unless you have like
Yeah.
a uniform. I think that's why people like, if you have a uniform,
Mhm.
I eat this for dinner, I eat this for, but
Yeah. Mira, how about you with your apocalypse plan?
Oh, I mean, I think it's the end of the movie. I think it's Joshua. I think it's the desert. I think it's just getting as far away as possible. That is why, I mean, that's often where we go. That's, I think, probably why we ended the movie there, just instinctually. We were like, when we were just kind of outlining it, we are like, it has to end in the desert because like COVID, when our house burnt down, all these things, we always just go away, It feels like
Yeah.
that, like, I don't know, that just feels like instinctually the safest thing to do. Um, that's where we'd be. It's really a documentary, the end of the film.
That's it's too real. Hopefully not. Hopefully not, because zombies would stress me out. I have my aunt's farm because it's on a hill, so you can like, and she has guns. So, but I probably would watch the sunset and have somebody of mice and men me. Um, so
Oh
it
man,
sounds so literary. It sounds so literary when you put it that
I
way.
thank
know.
you,
Really
thank you.
elegant, like a little tone poem. Where
Yeah,
where is your aunt's farm?
it's in Wisconsin.
Oh, okay. Are
So
you are you taking plus ones or
if you want to come, hey, if you gotta be able to, we gotta drive, we gotta go. So
okay. Yeah. Oh,
gotta
I
be ready
mean,
to
I
rock.
would I would consider it.
Okay, yeah. Again, same with the zombie thing. I would also scope it out because a brain break sounds nice,
You
you
also
Oh,
know?
gonna need someone to have mice and menu
Yeah.
because I feel like that's
So
a lot to put on your aunt.
I don't know if she'd do it, but I probably would do
Yeah,
it before I
I
would go
would
to my
do it.
aunt's.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh,
If I was your plus
oh,
one, yeah.
that's so sweet. Thank
I'd be like,
you.
close your eyes. I'd be like one, two, and then I'd like do it on two.
Yeah. Like look at the pretty sunset.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
I'd be
That's
like, you'd be like on three, but I like do it a little early. You know what I
yeah.
mean? So that you're not expecting it, then you wouldn't feel so bad. I feel like this is an appropriate. This would be. I feel like if this was in ChatGPT, this conversation would be flagged. But I feel like for a zombie podcast or a horror podcast, this is perfect, right?
This
Tell
is
for
this
content.
is the average thing that we talk
Okay,
about on
cool, cool,
here.
cool, cool.
Yeah. I usually go, if I turn into a werewolf, would you kill me? And
Yeah,
then
yeah,
they go, no, I let you live. And I'll be like, no, I shoot you point to blank. But yeah,
yeah. Werewolf is like, come on, man.
it's a lot. I'm good.
The
I'm good.
shedding. Ugh.
Yeah. And it's just, yeah, I know I'm okay. I'm
And
okay.
your
Again,
allergies. Think about the allergies.
and you gotta shave I mean, you don't have to, but then it's like you're hairy and maybe your makeup doesn't go on quite right, and it just
You got to figure out a whole other makeup routine. Oh, I'd be out.
it's too hard. And in the zombie apocalypse, what would be your weapon of choice if you were to survive longer than a day?
Right, and I'm guessing guns are kind of probably out.
I
Because like
mean, you could pick
bullets
a
are gone.
gun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, eventually they'll run out, but yeah.
Yeah, I think guns because of the impersonal nature.
Hmm.
And then I would say blunt force object.
Yeah.
Something with like some sort of a, like maybe an axe. I don't like, you know, there was a there was a helicopter in my neighborhood, like a police helicopter, and I don't know, there was somebody on the loose, and this police helicopter was like trolling this guy, and he's like, "We know where you are. Don't make the mistake of going to that building." Kind of just trolling. "We have your mom's address." But like it's like ridiculous. And anyway, I went outside and I saw my neighbor, and one of my neighbors was outside and they were holding like a knife, just like a butcher knife, like a steak
Sure.
knife. And I was like, what are we gonna do with that? What are we doing with this knife? Well, you can never be too careful. And I said, the blade is not very.
Unfortunately, the file did get corrupted, but trust me, you missed so much. You missed so much good stuff, but that just means I'll have to have them back on. But make sure to follow them at Didn't Die Film on Instagram to find out all the dates. They are starting to be in theaters starting March 6th. And that's this week, guys. This week they're going to be in theaters, so make sure to check that out. And yeah, guys, make sure to like, subscribe, all that jazz on Katie Afraidy, all social media platforms, and we will see you next time. Stay afraid.
We would like to give a huge thanks to a few of our sponsors. Filmcraft Studio Gear, where you can get any gear you're looking for all production needs. Go to filmcraftla.com, or you can find them at filmcraftla on Instagram. And of course, a big shout out to Fangoria. Want a copy of a Fangoria magazine? Use code Katie Afraidy 25 for 25% off. Katie Afraidy 25 for 25% off.
Didn't die, and eventually it just becomes, didn't I?